Hi there, I'm Sifu Slim, and I'm out here bright and early with my tennis coach, Richard Manson-Hing. And I have a question for him, and that's come up in the learning progression that he started me off on about 4 months ago, and that's learning the modern forehand a la Pete Sampras also had it, and then advanced by Roger Federer and many other people. And that's getting more distance from the ball and hitting with more of a straight arm and hitting with rotational force other than linear force, which is what I learned back in the Bjorn Borg and McEnroe era. And then on the backhand, same thing, getting set up high in the beginning and then coming down low and keeping that extension and using the rotational force. But what's happened to me recently is I've noticed my game has a lot of strengths, but one weakness is taking the deep penetrating balls from my backhand where maybe I have to run to that spot. It could be a high ball or it could be just a penetrating ball. And Richard has some ideas that I hope will help you, because they've helped me deal with those long penetrating or that high bouncing topspin shot that I need to hit back versus a slice, which is what he was coaching me on recently. Don't just hit the slice, work on hitting that topspin whenever possible and whenever it makes sense, so that I can keep pressure on the other guy and not give up the power that I had in that point. There you go, Richard.
Hi, my name is Richard Manson-Hing, and I've been coaching now for about 12 years here in Santa Barbara. And I've learned, I've been playing tennis. I learned to play tennis when I was 11 years old. We're talking about 57 years ago. And I did take 20 years off in somewhere in that lifespan. But over the last 12, 14 years, I've really got back into tennis, and I've got into coaching. And first I had to research the game, what the modern game was like, and then I had to learn how the pros do hit before I could teach. Now, Sifu's question, high bouncing balls to his backhand, and he has a one-handed backhand. And so how do you deal with that? Well, over the years, the game has changed. The equipment has changed. The equipment now more powerful and produces a lot more spin. And you may notice when you go to your local courts, you may notice that even the young kids are hitting with a lot more spin. And the balls bounce a lot higher over your head. You could you go to any club, any country club or so on, or tennis club, and you'll notice the older generation of players, the club players, these are members of the club. Their balls don't bounce that high. The balls come low over the net. They hit very flat. The balls don't bounce up into the air. So what is the difference? Why is that? Well, one is the equipment, and number two, the style of stroke, the techniques, the swing path has changed over the years. The grips have changed over the years. And in modern days, it is no longer, in the old days when I was learning, the coaches would say, you can't use that grip. You can't swing like that. You can't hit with your hand. You gotta hit with the strings. They used to have certain rules about how the game should be played technically. And if you broke those rules, you were looked at as being way outside the norm, and as a person who's not really playing proper technical tennis. However, today we have a whole different way of thinking about this. We're a lot more open to new techniques, and we look at the results to see, and then we do research as to why is this shot, why is this guy who is hitting with this weird looking kind of stroke, why is it producing such great results? And then we adopt his techniques if we see fit. Now, one of the techniques, so hitting to the backhand. Actually, I almost went into talking about the forehand, which is my favorite stroke. But actually, we're here to talk about the backhand. There are two types of backhand. There's slice backhands, two types of one-handed backhand. There's slice backhands, where your racket travels in a high to low swing path. Then there's topspin backhands, one-handed backhand, where you swing from low to high and put topspin on the ball. Now, topspin backhands tend to go through the air, fly through the air a lot faster. It keeps its speed a lot better than slice backhands. Slice backhands tend to go over the net very, very slow. They tend to stay low over the net. They tend to bounce very low. When they bounce, they bounce low. And topspin backhands tend to bounce high when they bounce on the other side of the net. Now, let's talk about anatomy. The anatomy of a one-handed, a person's anatomy matters a lot to which backhand you choose to hit under which circumstances. Generally speaking, even men, we don't have enough upper body strength, shoulder strength, to hit high bouncing balls above our shoulder while pulling the ball down from high to low. That's a very, very tough shot. Hitting a high bouncing balls to our backhand, trying to pull the ball down from high to low is a very difficult prospect. You will notice on the professionals on the tour, what they do when the ball comes high bouncing on the backhand, even those players who have two-handed backhands, you will notice many of them jump up in the air. They jump up in the air, and one of the reasons they're doing to jump up in the air is they're trying to bring the ball a little bit lower down so that they can get over the ball, get more level with the ball, get their shoulders higher to the ball. Because if they try to hit too high above the shoulders, we lose leverage, we lose body strength, upper body strength. If we can hit it just around shoulder level or just above shoulder level, we're in a much better position. So, if a high bouncing ball comes to your backhand, what do you choose? Well, there's a medical helicopter flying to the hospital. We have a hospital right here, and it's just took off and it's flying away, so it's pretty noisy. But so, what do you choose when the ball comes to your backhand and it's high bouncing? One question you gotta ask yourself is if you intend to hit a defensive shot, or if you need to hit a defensive shot, or if you need to hit an offensive shot. Now, a clear strategy of modern tennis players, of any tennis player of any age really, is to pound on your backhand because that's the weakest shot. So they pound on your backhand, and they try to make you hit a short shot or a weak shot back so that they can pound on, or they can take advantage of the short or weak shot. So they will pound on your backhand until you hit a weak shot, or they pound on your backhand until you hit a short shot, or they pound on your backhand until you hit a shot that is slow, and they can take advantage of it on their backhand side by running around their backhand and hitting a forehand inside out or inside in. Very dangerous in this modern day to allow your opponent to take advantage of your backhand, of your cross-court backhand shot by running around the backhand and hitting an inside out or inside in. What happens is when he is able to run around your backhand, he will catch you behind your back because you're running back to the center, or he will catch you way off to your forehand side because you refuse to move from your spot on the backhand side. So making a choice in modern days, making a choice of whether you're going to hit a defensive shot or an offensive shot is made much more difficult in modern days because of the tactics. Now,